We are in Ohio this weekend. My buddy Blake and his family leased some ground out here, and were generous enough to let me come out and hunt for a few days. All three of them tagged out already this week, so I pretty much have the whole place to myself. Just took a few shots here. One was a little funny with the broadhead, but I might shoot that one again just to make sure everything's good. But 2 field points hit dead on, and probably shoot 3 more shots just to make sure everything's good, since that one scared me a little bit. Then we're gonna head back and do stand up over here, a couple hundred yards. Just did this cornfield yesterday, so it's about 12:45 now. We'll sit all afternoon. Hopefully the buck will be moving. Well, that air finally ended up being an issue with the knock. Showing another group, everything was dead on. So we're gonna get suited up here, heading to the stand for our first evening sit in Ohio. November 9th. I know the buck have been chasing hard. They've been kind of aggressive out here, so they just respond a lot of calling. So I'm pumped up. Hopefully we see some good action tonight. Okay, everything's hung up. We're ready to rock and roll here. Pretty warm out. It's like high 50s, maybe up in the low 60s. And we made a little bit of noise just walking through the leaves and corn to get here, so I'm just gonna hammer the horn right away and hunker until dark, see what happens. I wasn't in the stand for more than 10 minutes before the first buck of the evening showed up and started walking my direction. About 45 minutes after doing a little routing sequence, heard some movement in the brush to my left and got ready. The buck crossed the canal 60 yards away, shook off, and then the adrenaline started to pump because he was walking in my direction. that buck saw something he didn't like in the meadow to my left and decided to get out of there. I threw a few calls at him hoping I could lure him back in, but the only thing he wanted to do was get back into the brush that he came from. I sat there for a few more hours, and all I saw was a small 8-point until about an hour before dark. And that's when a big doe started to feed out across the cornfield. And this time of the year, where there's a doe, there's usually a buck not too far behind. After watching that buck ignore my calls and walk out of my life forever, I started to think about which stand I wanted to sit in the next morning. Let's freaking go, baby. Buck down. I looked over behind my shoulder here and I saw him walking out the cornfield. I thought he was gonna keep going out. And then he turned to come down through this patch of woods here. So I was trying to send videos to my buddy, Blake, who's like leasing this ground. I was like, hey, you think this is a shooter? And for whatever reason, he kicked into high gear, booked out through the woods here, got down through the field, and by that point I got a good look at him. I was like, yeah, that's a shooter buck. And he went out through the field here, and I bleated, and I grunted at him. And he turned, came up, gave me like a 20-yard shot, and I was like super focused on my shot. I wounded the buck earlier this year, did not want to do it again. So, focused on it, made sure I felt the trigger, didn't punch the trigger, squeezed it, how my pin settled right behind the shoulder. I didn't know that the shot felt maybe the best shot I've ever felt whenever shooting at a deer. And he went up the hill here from me, and just kind of stopped and stood there. And I thought I hit him really good up. I was like, man, why isn't he falling over? And about that time, kicked over, rolled down the hill a little bit, and we got a buck down, baby. Let's freaking go. Yes. All right, I'm gonna climb down and go check him out here. Walking up to where he's at, a little scrape right here. Where was he standing whenever I shot him? Right here's my arrow. Right down here. Full pass through. Good blood off. I can see the deer right here. I was up. You can see the tree stands right up there. So I was sitting there, about a 20-yard shot, and he's laying right over here. So, like I said, smoked him. Don't even need the blood trail. I don't think he's like a freak, but he looked wide and pretty heavy. Had like real kicked back tines. So. Oh yeah. Definitely not a giant buck, but I can't freaking complain with him for sure. This buck was my first buck in 2 years, and I was tickled with him. I called up my buddy Blake and told him to come pick me up with the Ranger and to bring my knife, because I left it in the truck and didn't want to have to try to gut him with one of my broadheads. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out one of these other videos hunting the rut in Ohio. Thanks for watching.